It seemed like anything we did with, positive was overshadowed by the turnover of Jaquan, and then, two penalties that are unacceptable. Got to clean up and be more fundamentally sound and play with better technique there. But, our guys are hunting on kickoff coverage. Punt team, we're doing a good job protecting, getting down the field. Gunners are continuing to do a good job and force the returner to go lateral. So big challenge this week. Jacksonville's got a good unit. Their punter's done a really good job. Their punt team, ranks up there, is really doing a good job just controlling field position. And then they got returners, one that particularly one that scored earlier in the year against New England. So they got a handful of returners that they're going to be pose a good deal of a good challenge for us.
Are you switching over to Mason on punt returns?
Yeah, we're going to look at our options this week. Our big return days today and tomorrow. I'm not going to guarantee anything, but we're going to look at all options and see how this week shakes out.
What would you consider your options there?
Yeah, just on the active roster right now, we got Jaquan and Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd's a guy that's done it in the past. He's got tremendous hands. I feel confident in him taking care of the ball. And then just on the practice squad, Mason Kinsey, he's a guy that's done it. You guys are familiar with him, and he's a guy that we have all the confidence in too.
After Jaquan loses the fumble against Houston, can you talk us through the practice week leading up to Washington and how you worked with him to try to ensure he didn't do it again?
Yeah, against Houston, that was a muff. So really surprising that he mishandled a punt. He's shown tremendous hands. Just the way he's able to judge the ball is one of the top guys I've ever seen. So he didn't fumble it there. He just muffed it. And we worked extra before practice, after practice, just catching a lot of balls. And then on top of that, we've continued to just work turnover drills, just, punching at the ball, raking at the ball, just so, create that heightened awareness that he needs to take care of the rock.
Times previous to that.
Yeah.
So how is it that surprising that he would fumble or muff one?
Can you repeat that question?
You said you were very surprised that he muffed the one against Houston, but prior to that, he'd lost the ball 3 times this season, right?
Yeah, no, I was surprised that he muffed the ball. That's catching. It's not securing. It's just catching the ball. So it's different than a fumble. But we got to clean it up. It's unacceptable to turn the ball over in that situation. Our number one job in the return phase is get the ball back to the offense.
What makes those two different kinds of ball security different in your eyes, muffing versus catching, when it comes to the value of the returner?
No, at the end of the day, it's a turnover, right? Yeah, but it just, if you think about it, muffing is just securing the catch, and then, a fumble's securing the ball when you're the runner. So number one job, secure the catch, and then take care of it when you're the runner.
Ryan's talked a couple of times this year about examples of things he feels like he's done to adjust and change in his first year on the job. I'm curious, do you have examples of things that you've done to adjust in your first year as a coordinator? Just things that...
Are you talking about Ryan Stonehouse? I'm confused what you're... Oh, Brian, I thought you were saying Ryan Stonehouse. My bad. No, just technique, just, working with these guys, just making sure we're all on the same page, communicating on the same level at that point. But, just being confident in what I'm doing and making sure the guys there's clarity in everything that we're doing. Early in the year, you could probably say that I was assuming guys knew what they were doing. So I felt like I, have learned, how guys learn in certain situations, and we're going to continue to grow and get better.
A lot of the guys, talking to them, they said that more recently, being hunters, like hunting is something that they really have taken on to. Would you agree that wasn't there as much earlier? And if so, what has led to that now?
Yeah, it's a mindset. Special teams is a mindset. It's a different animal than offense, defense. It takes a special person to play special teams, and just creating that culture. It's taken longer than I wanted it to take, but guys are buying in, and like you said, they're hunting and they're aggressive to make those plays.
What would you say are signs of that mindset starting to emerge?
Just the way we practice. The guys are practicing hard. The way they meet, the way they want to meet, meeting with me extra, holding each other accountable. That's a big thing, is accountability and trust, just trusting the guy next to them to do their job. And, we have a motto here, and it's hunt together. And so I feel like we've been hunting together fairly well, and we got to continue to do that.
There's different parts of that. Well, we've been in no huddle probably, I would say, if I was ballparking, under 5%, maybe something right around there, maybe a little more, but right around that number. I think there's two different things. One, when you're down, you're kind of getting your butt kicked. You want to make sure you're running good plays, kind of into good looks. So if you go 3 and out and you throw it 3 times, and you've gone no huddle and took 25 seconds on the clock and you just gave him right back. So we tried to increase the tempo a little bit, but some of that, and then I think as it would have kept going, we would have probably gone a little more no huddle as it went, but just kind of the decision we made in the moment.
Able to run good plays out of good looks, out of
For
high
sure.
tempo.
There's part of that, but then at some point you're getting in there, you're moving protections, you're making all that communication on the line. You're sitting up there, he's communicating, and it can become cumbersome at some points. So we have those mechanics and we have those things involved in the offense, but we just kind of chose to stay with a similar tempo. And, when we got it back to 2 scores, kind of try to keep it in that range. And if we would have converted some red zone touchdowns there instead of those field goals, maybe it is a different story.
Will, 4th game back.
I thought he played really well. I thought other than those 1 or 2 plays, we keep talking here about protection and kind of taking some hits and things like that. Really, I thought he did a good job getting the ball out, kind of avoiding, some of those rushers and really subtle pocket movement, which was a good growth for him. And I think he's getting the ball out. He's seeing it well, and he's, making accurate passes. So we're pretty happy with everything he's done so far.
Steady game-by-game progress with him. What are the next steps? It seems like you've seen that progress through these 4. What are the next things in progress?
The next things are probably really converting more 3rd downs, right? Hitting more 3rd downs and scoring touchdowns in the red zone, right? More times where we get a chance. We had the ball to Chig on the down the sideline there where they, he overthrew him a little bit. They said he got pass interfered with, a little bit of those kind of things, but make sure he gets a chance to either Chig can go make a play on that ball or we get the PI. So there's a couple plays like that where I think now we're just into a smaller amount of things where we're looking for now it's going to hit and you're hitting 4 for 4 touchdowns in the red zone rather than 2 for 4 or 1 for 3 or whatever we've been these last couple of weeks. That's really where those, and then on some 3rd downs, like you saw the big one where he scrambled out, kept his eyes downfield, hit that to Calvin. That was a big play where you see that, and all of a sudden you see a couple more of those, you're going to feel really good.
How much do you feel like, when Calvin first signed here, he said he would circle the date that you played Jacksonville. How much do you feel like now that week is here, he's looking forward to it and excited about it?
I think we all probably have that. You go against a bunch of people and your friends and things like that, and I'm sure there's probably a little bit extra for him, but at the same time, Calvin prepares every week, like with great enthusiasm, kind of energy, so I haven't really seen a change from that regard, but I think anytime you go against people really well, you always want to have a good performance, and I'm sure, I don't want to speak for him, but I'm sure he wishes maybe felt like they offered him more money or whatever he wanted to, however he wanted it to play out. But I think he's happy with how it played out. But there's always that extra motivation to really kind of show somebody that you used to be with and people to go play well. And I'm sure. I probably a little bit different for me. I'd left for probably a clear promotion and that kind of stuff. And I'm really grateful to them for the opportunity. It's a bunch of great coaches there, a lot of great people, a lot of great players. And so I've, I don't really have the same, I would say, maybe feelings as he does maybe, but I don't want to speak for him either. So.
Trevor Lawrence is a top-tier quarterback in his league, and he's done a lot of great things. The offense is still pretty much the same. In terms of what they do, they have an outstanding combination of running backs. The young receivers are developing. I think they're going to come out and run the same offense that they normally have been running with Trevor in the lineup.
I know run defense is something that you guys, pride yourselves upon. It didn't quite happen last week. What was the issue there?
A lot of different issues in terms of the run game. For us, it was a tackling thing. It was a setting the edge. It was properly fitting the gaps, linebackers getting over the top, safeties coming down, playing in their gaps. Last week, in terms of the run game, it kind of got away from us. We didn't play as fundamentally sound as we've been doing in prior weeks, and we got to get back to that. We got to get back to stopping the run. We got to populate the line of scrimmage, and we got to properly fit our gaps when guys pull and when it's one back, one gap, you got to swell up and get downhill.
What do you think about a defense that brands itself along the lines of something specific, like Jeff has always said, nobody runs on us, and have strong run defense, and of course the passing defense has had a great year. What do you think about kind of a tagline like that throughout the course of the year?
I mean, Yeah, it's always like that. In order to stop people and make them one-dimensional, you have to stop the run. We've been pretty solid in the run game, other than probably 2 games. All right, last week was, to me, an anomaly of what happened for whatever reason. But we got to stop the run. And if that's me populating the line of scrimmage and getting more bodies down there from a call structure, we can't allow what happened last week to happen again. And, sometimes failures and, we got our butt whooped. And sometimes as players and as coaches, you have to look at yourself and see what you're doing. You have to correct it. You got to come back and you got to make it right the next go around. So that's a big emphasis for us this week. All right, we've moved on. All right, it's time for us to bow up and show what we really can do against the run game, as well as what we've done against the pass.
A lot of focus on the run game and how it broke down last week, but why has the pass rush not been as consistently getting home the way it needs to?
Well, if you're not stopping the run like last week, if you're not stopping the run, you're not getting into known pass situations, right? That game, we wasn't getting second and long. They were second and short. And then for the whole first half, it was all 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and or 3rd and 1. So they had the option to run it or pass it. When we buckled in and we came out with a little bit more focus, tenacity, aggressiveness in the second half, you sort of rush started to come alive. We started the second half out with the same fire and determination that we should have started the game with. And for whatever reason, we didn't execute early on, but in the second half, we showed glimpses of what we could do, and then, things started to break down. So we got to get it cleaned up, get it fixed, and in order to rush the passer, you have to stop the run. You have to earn the right to rush the passer.
Game right now in your eyes?
I think he's been solid. Obviously, just like any player, just like any coach, everybody can do more. And, I think Harold's going to start to progress even more. I mean, he had a hell of a practice yesterday. The attention to detail, the way he rushed, the way he came off the ball. And, I think, and like I said today, 90% of what you do at practice, if you do 90%, you're going to get 90% in the game. If you do 100%, you'll get 100% out of yourself in the game. And we've been intentional about doing everything 100% so it translates when the game comes. So I think Harold, we still have 5 games left. It's still time to turn the corner because everybody's being evaluated. In this business, no matter if you're playing or coaching. So you got to put your best foot forward, and I think that in the next 5 games he'll do that.
Is he getting the burst and the depth that you've seen from him in the past?
Yeah, I mean, it's been there. I mean, when you look at teams, we get a lot of chippers on known rush downs. So it's a lot of 7-man protections and things like that. We have to be better, avalanche in the pocket. And then when you look at you go back and look at the games, we've had a lot of sacks that we've missed, where guys have been there. And, we got to seal a deal when we get around the quarterback. And that's a big emphasis for us this week.
Jarvis, I guess, being physical, feisty, but just avoiding the penalties.
Yeah, I mean, the penalties have hurt us, and go back to the game, maybe that third drive or whatever, we get 2 penalties on 3rd down, And when you look at it in its entirety throughout the course of the year, the 3rd down penalties have hurt us in terms of getting off the field and stopping people from scoring in those positions. So, for him and just like everybody else, you can live on the edge, you can play on the edge, but you can't do anything to hurt the team. And penalties hurt the team, whether it's pre-snap or post-snap. And, he understands that. He's trying to fight through it. He's getting better, but he knows he has a target on him because the refs are obviously calling it against him. So, he has to continue to work diligently to get that off of him. And I think he's been trying to, but him being an aggressive player, it happens at times.
How's Cheeto looking to your eye? And when he comes back, if it's this week, do you expect there to be a pitch count on him, or do you think he's...
Cheeto looks good. I mean, you saw him last week as he got back in the flow of things at practice. The athleticism is there. You can see him move and burst. We'll see how the game plays out in terms of pitch count. But, I like where he's at right now, and mentally he's in a good place, and we'll let the chips fall where they may when we get out on the field on Sunday.
Sideways with the run game on Sunday, what adjustments were you making trying to stem the bleeding there?
Well, we was trying to do RPO, quarterback run game pressures. plugging away from the back. We missed a few of them. They had a few explosive plays because we didn't get over top to the gap. We tried to get into a little bit more post-safety defense. We tried to slant all away from the back. So we did numerous things. It was just, like I say, it was a microcosm of things where we didn't execute as well as we normally do, and it hurt us. And in a game like that, when it goes sideways, you have to do the little things correct even more. You have to put your eyes on your work even more. You have to step to your gap and be violent. The one thing I didn't like in the game, we wasn't as violent coming downhill, hitting blockers, setting the edge, and restricting the space. So we got to get back to that, and it's a great opportunity this week to show what we're made of.